My name is Emma, and for 5 years, I believed my husband was the most financially responsible man I had ever met. Now I realize he was only responsible when it came to spending my money. When Jake and I got married, we agreed on a 50-50 marriage. At the time, it sounded modern and fair. We both had good jobs. We both earned decent salaries. And honestly, I was proud of the arrangement. No one would depend on anyone. No arguments about money, no resentment. At least, that's what I thought. The first few months were easy. Every bill was split exactly in half. Rent, utilities, groceries, vacations, everything. Jake even created spreadsheets to track our expenses. I thought it was cute, organized, responsible. But over time, his obsession with fairness became something else. If I spent $100 on groceries, he wanted the receipt. If I accidentally bought something for the house without discussing it first, he questioned the purchase. Once, I bought a new shower curtain because ours had mold on it. Jake actually argued that he shouldn't have to pay half because replacing it had been my idea. I laughed about it with my friends. But deep down, it bothered me. Then things got worse. When our daughter Lily was born, I took maternity leave. My income dropped by almost 70%. Jake's income stayed exactly the same. I assumed we would start acting like a family. Instead, Jake handed me an updated spreadsheet. I wish I were joking. The spreadsheet included diapers, baby formula, medical expenses, everything. And beside each item was my share. I stared at him. Jake, I'm barely earning anything right now. He shrugged. We agreed on 50-50. I felt sick. I spent every day caring for our daughter, every night waking up every few hours. I cooked, cleaned, did laundry, managed appointments. Meanwhile, Jake came home from work, ate dinner, and relaxed. But somehow, we were still expected to contribute equally. One night, after Lily had finally fallen asleep, I sat in the kitchen and cried. I wasn't upset about the money. I was upset because my husband viewed me like a roommate. Not a partner, not the mother of his child, a roommate. Months passed. I started using my savings to cover expenses. Then my savings disappeared. I sold jewelry my grandmother had given me. I stopped buying new clothes. I skipped hair appointments. I cut every expense possible. Meanwhile, Jake never seemed worried about money. That part confused me. He constantly complained about expenses. Yet somehow he always had money. New gadgets, expensive headphones, a new gaming computer, a luxury watch. Whenever I asked about it, he gave the same answer. I budget carefully. One afternoon, everything changed. Jake left his laptop open before going to work. I wasn't snooping. I simply needed to print a document. But while looking for the file, I noticed a folder labeled Investments. Curious, I opened it. And my entire world stopped. The account balance was over $180,000. $180,000. At first I thought it had to be a mistake. Then I started reading. Monthly deposits, thousands of dollars every month, for years. Money he had saved while forcing me to split every expense. Money he had saved while I drained my savings account. Money he had saved while I sold family heirlooms just to pay for diapers. I felt physically ill. When Jake got home that evening, I was waiting. The investment statements were sitting on the table. His face turned white. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, I asked one question. How long? Jake sat down slowly. 3 years. 3 years. 3 years of watching me struggle. 3 years of pretending everything had to be 50-50. 3 years of building a secret fortune while his wife sacrificed everything. Then he said something I will never forget. I was protecting our future. Our future. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was unbelievable. Our future? I asked. You watched me sell my grandmother's jewelry. Silence. You watched me cry over bills. Silence. You watched me worry about buying diapers. Silence. And then I asked the question that changed everything. If I had never found this account, would you have ever told me about it? Jake couldn't answer. That was my answer. I moved out 2 weeks later. Not because of the money, because of the betrayal. For months, Jake begged me to come back. He promised to change, promised to share everything, promised to be different. But trust isn't a light switch. Once it's broken, it doesn't magically turn back on. Then something unexpected happened. About a year later, Jake lost his job. The company downsized. Suddenly, the man who had always preached self-reliance found himself struggling. His investments had fallen significantly during a market downturn. His savings weren't disappearing, but they weren't growing anymore either. For the first time, he experienced uncertainty, fear, dependence. One evening he called me, not to talk about our marriage, not to ask for another chance, just to apologize. A real apology. No excuses, no justifications, no blaming circumstances. He admitted something that shocked me. The money had never been about security. It had been about control. The more he accumulated, the safer he felt. The safer he felt, the less empathy he had for everyone around him, including me, especially me. That conversation didn't save our marriage. Some things cannot be repaired. But it gave me something I needed: closure. Today, Lily is 7 years old. She's happy, she's healthy. And every time she asks me what makes a good relationship, I tell her the same thing. Love is not 50-50. Love is not a spreadsheet. Love is not keeping score. Because the moment someone starts calculating exactly how much they owe you, they've already forgotten what partnership means. And sometimes the most expensive thing in the world isn't money. It's the trust you lose trying to save it.